Talking Tottenham, a fantasyfocus.com production.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 165 of Talking Tottenham. Bucky, joined as always by Danny Shakes. With this crazy Euros coming to a close, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors at Manscaped. You got to avoid that Fellaini-looking bush in your midfield and clean up your med section with Manscaped. Proud sponsors of the Talking Tottenham podcast. Be a proper man this tournament. Shave your balls with the brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Danny Shakes, I got to tell you, with this Lawnmower 4.0, I used to be a once every 2 to 3 month guy just because I wanted to avoid a major situation with the nicks and the cuts and all that good stuff. Switched over to Lawnmower 4.0 when we partnered with Manscaped. Let me tell you, it is unbelievable. I cannot recommend it enough. You can use our code for 20% off and free worldwide shipping, KOIS20. That is KOIS20 for 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code KOIS20 at manscaped.com. I'm telling you, I'm not joking about that, by the way, Shakes. I was very hesitant to do it. It's something you know you got to do. You dread doing it, and it's totally changed my world.
That's awesome to hear, Bucks. I'm glad that it has.
Okay, well, sounds like it's changed your world as well, Danny Shakes.
It's the 12th green at Augusta right now, Bucks. What else can I say?
Well, we can also splash a little golf talk here. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code KOIS20 at manscaped.com. That is 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com using the code KOIS20. Danny Shakes, let's jump into these Euros. England taking it to Denmark today. It was a crazy game. We had a wonderful game with Italy and Spain yesterday. At this juncture, what are your main takeaways? How are you feeling about this final at the Euros?
I wouldn't say they took it to Denmark, Bucks. I thought they were the better team. Did you as well?
Yeah, I think they deserve to win that
match.
But
if that went to penalties, would you have felt that was unjust? Because I kind of arrived in, if somehow Denmark stole it before penalties, that would have felt not the right result. If Italy won on penalties or won in extra time, that felt more right. But just Denmark, I mean, they gave it their all, Bucks. They're not at all as deep as Italy, or excuse me, as England or Italy.
Not even close. We saw that. I thought the manager slipped up.
Yeah,
taking out the two attackers, and
he took out the two attackers. He did like wholesale changes, like all at once. What was it, like 3 subs in that 80th minute? But anyway, I feel for Denmark because our boy Højbjerg is on that squad. They're playing for Christian Eriksen. They were the darling of the tournament. Everyone else's second favorite team, basically behind their own, and it had to end eventually, Bucks. And it felt like, England deserved to win the game. It didn't feel like they deserved to win it on that type of PK. I don't know. It left like a kind of a weird taste in my mouth. Look, I was pulling for England, wanted them to advance. It just, I kind of wanted to see a well-worked goal, buried by Kane or Sterling or Grealish at that point. It just didn't kind of end that way, but we'll take it, right?
We'll always take it. I mean, we're excited. We're not from England, but the team we love is in England, so got buddies over in England. Shout out.
England's got our favorite player.
Yes, shout out the Spurs boys. It's an incredible feeling for those folks. I didn't realize, you hear about how England had been consistently letting down, fans of the national team for a long time. I did not realize. I was shocked today after the match. They said 1966 was the last final they've even appeared in, let alone win. I mean, it's incredible.
And that was a World Cup. I don't even think, so they've never been to a Euro final.
Pretty cool to get to play it at Wembley too.
Real cool. So I guess when we say it's coming home, it's because it's coming home to the birthplace of soccer, not where once they held the trophy.
Well, it's coming home, and I think it is at home already. So
yeah, it's currently at home.
They just want to hang it up at home. They want to put it on a nice podium there.
They want to make that thing kind of official.
It's pretty damn official. I think Italy and England is going to be a weird match.
If you asked me beginning of the tournament, I think we even talked about this, like, because Italy is the homeland generationally for the Shakes household.
You can always tell right off the jump with the last name of Shakes.
Yes.
It's very Italian.
Shakesatini.
Shake Sorelli.
It does feel kind of like the right two teams, though, right? After we finally got there, the half of the bracket that had basically just England, Germany, Netherlands. I feel like to include Netherlands and Germany with England doesn't even feel right. But that side felt kind of like wonky Bucks. But I kind of think we got the right two teams, or at least the two teams that are playing the best right now.
I think both teams have shown enough on the attack. They've had enough control these games. And then also they've been the best two defensive squads in the Euros thus far.
They do it different ways, though. Don't you think, hopping quick over to the Spain-Italy semifinal that also went to extra time, but that one made it all the way to penalties, which is kind of what I thought the deserved result was going to be. If you asked me, gun to my head, who would pull it out in the extra time, it would have been Spain, I thought. They looked a lot more threatening than Italy.
Open play?
Yeah, in open play, but in the extra time. I thought Italy was just the better team in the second half. And then when Spain had to go on the front foot, kind of like England having to go on the front foot against Denmark here in the first half after they got a goal behind, you're like, oh, wow, look at all this shit, this ball movement and the crisp passing by Spain, which they always do, but now they're actually doing it forward, and it leads to that Morata goal that was just so well worked, and that felt just to get it to extra time. And then Spain, I thought, took it more towards Italy. Italy wanted penalties more than Spain did. It didn't feel like everyone on the planet knew, unfortunately, Morata was going to miss that penalty.
Yeah,
it just had that feeling
pit in my stomach.
You feel terrible for he's a Chelsea guy at one point, so whatever. But still, just no one wants the weight of that.
He's not anymore.
Yeah, I know.
What did he do at Chelsea?
So, yeah, true. Just got punted out of there. I don't know. I mean,
he
Italy
never stabbed me in the back.
Italy surprised me. That game I thought was more interesting tactically. They typically press, but instead they're sitting back because Spain was just keeping possession because they just have wizards on the ball like Petri and Busquets, and then their back line's probably the best at distributing the ball. So it was weird to watch Italy kind of more like old school Italy, kind of going back and then countering. But it will be a clash of styles, I think, because everyone wants to see England kind of play the way Italy was all tournament until that Spain game. And I don't think England will do that. So maybe you'll see Italy more on the front foot this time. And I wonder if Southgate will look at a back three, go the wing back route to try to look to counter more and also keep the back really compact with three center backs plus Declan Rice basically acting as a fourth. So it'll be an interesting clash of styles, I think, Bucks.
So you think it'll look more similar with the England setup that they had against Germany?
Yeah, don't you? I mean, which kind of worries me. It's like I really think it's like if you switch the managers, and Southgate's got them to the final. So this isn't like a dig against Southgate. It's more of this is how tactically and stylistically these two managers play.
I gotcha.
Mancini, I think, would just have this team pressing. He'd have his midfielders really chomping up more. Probably wouldn't start Rice. He'd probably start Henderson instead. I don't know. It would just probably look a lot different. And then also, I just want to see what that would look like for England, because when they got a goal behind and they just start ramping up the pressure, it's like you kind of realize when shit gets controlled chaos as opposed to slow passing around, England is much better than Denmark. They were taking it to Denmark when it was less, organization and less, deliberate passing in the back line and all that stuff. England wanted more chaos.
Some out there have called you the chief of organized chaos. Are these rumors true?
I'm not the chief of organized chaos. However, I thrive in organized chaos because chaos is a ladder, Bucks.
So you're not the chief, but you thrive. So
I thrive.
You're the captain of chaos.
I have some humility. I don't think I'm the chief. I'm not the president and CEO of chaos.
Star player.
Utility.
Okay.
You don't want to be the guy that's known to ramp up the chaos either.
Let's be honest. Jose is the real king of chaos.
That's true.
He comes in like a lightning bolt. Comes in. What do you think is going to happen at Roma this year? Just a quick aside.
I mean,
how long does he last?
I'm going to be it sucks because I've no ill will towards Roma. They did bother me when they didn't beat Liverpool that one time in Champions League. Really wanted them to come back there, but I would say I'm going to be checking in and hoping they lose every match. And I don't know if they will. They might start out strong, but it's a long season, Bucks. So maybe you see the same thing kind of happen. Things deteriorate.
I don't know. I've always had like a little. I like Roma. I think their kits are fantastic. What a logo with the wolf and the whatever weirdness is going on in that logo. Like a wolf with its.
I mean, my whole family's from
milking
Southern
children.
Italy, so I guess we're more Napoli. I don't even know. We don't really have a squad.
Naples.
Yeah,
No, probably Naples.
yeah,
Napoli's sweet.
Yeah, I'm cool rooting for them, but I don't think it ends well. Just like it won't end well everywhere else.
Yeah, I think
Serie A is so different now. Serie A reflects the Italian team. It's more up and down, and there's pressing and high pressing. So it's gonna be interesting to watch how he deals with that.
Yeah, I agree. I think I wonder if he gets more cameras on him again. Really, he just needs to be a pundit. Like, he's very good, except when he's talking shit about Spurs and everywhere else he's been. He's very good from the tactical kind of explanations, like very good, similar to you in that respect. You know, me, emotion, you, tactical.
True. However, he needs to not pick apart players. Like,
yeah,
he just still rips on Luke Shaw, and it was like 3-4 years ago. The guy's got to let it go. And if anything, Luke Shaw, though he had that questionable penalty that during the set piece that led to the other set piece that led to the goal, it's like Luke Shaw's been one of their best players since put into the starting lineup midway through the group stage.
He's been fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's like he doesn't know what he's fucking talking about. And then he just goes back to like, well, I didn't like this guy, Man U, so I'm sure he sucks now for England. This is 3 years ago. It's outrageous.
Yep. It is outrageous. All right, back to England, Denmark here. Ian mentions that Kane put back pen was bonkers. I had a bad feeling about that pen. It feels like it's a different. All right, if that's a game against Brighton, which is probably a bad example since Brighton seems to always take it to Spurs, but say it's a game against Burnley, Kane steps up for a pen. There is not an ounce of doubt in me, regardless of the scoreline, right? But there was something about the weight of that moment where I'm just like, I think he's probably overthinking this. His approach looked the same, but just something felt different.
He did.
Did you feel the same way?
I did, but I think of it because we talk about me being the statistic or data-driven guy. It's just like it feels like he's due to miss one. I couldn't. Yeah. I need to look up the last time he missed a pen, and gosh, it's got to be years, Bucks, unless it happened in maybe just some game or just not thinking about it, but. To have the fortunate bounce back to him and put that back was insane. Son had a penalty like that last season. I forget against who now, where he put back his missed pen. It was saved, and the keeper just couldn't hold on to it. I think Schmeichel is going to really regret that when he looks at the tape because it's something where he probably could have smothered it. It's also not to make excuses for Harry Kane, but it's back end of a long tournament, 104th minute, and just the weight of the country on your shoulders in the semifinals of extra time. So
at home,
a lot different than going against Burnley.
Turf Moor, Sean
midweek,
Dyche staring at you.
Midweek in December, just a little different.
This one, Harry.
But I guess I didn't think of it like the gravity. I just thought of it like, shit, he's tired and just he's probably due to like just kind of put it the way the keeper goes. Just Schmeichel couldn't smother it, and he was on top of it. So whatever, it went in.
I feel like he could have smothered it too. It felt like a very simple, just extend, put your belly over that thing, and go from there. But Kane, quick to pounce. I was a little worried. What are the rules? I always see there's always some talk or pointing on those types of putbacks. Like, I thought Harry Kane has free reign to react in any.
No, he can react, isn't it? Like, they're all pointing at each other. Like, he entered the box before the ball was struck. We have to read at that point. Then you're still asking for it to be redone, even though it was saved. But I mean, it was all clean that way. It was just so fortunate. It's almost like though. It's like, all right, we got his missed pen out of the way. Everyone knew it was due after so many years of just nonstop conversions. So if he gets one against Italy, just call it banked.
And yep. Just call it. It's going to upper right 90. funny enough, listeners, what you just heard was true. After 2.5 straight years of podcasting with Danny Shakes, I had to ask for a simple rule explanation of a sport I've obsessively watched for the better part of 11 years.
No, he has to hold his breath and count 3 seconds, and then he can chase after.
He's going to turn around and covered his eyes.
Struck spots kit. Yeah.
Hey, bring out the face mask for Kane. He's got to put that on when it leaves his foot. He's going in blind.
By the way, to hop back to Spain, Italy, the Jorginho PK, like him taking that spot kick. And, you know, if you watch EPL, you know that's how he takes his pens, right? And it was just so demonstrative. Like, I mean, he does it where it is that big step and he looks and he kind of slides it in, but I feel like it's got more pace than what we saw to clinch it for Italy. Like that thing, like he just dribbled in and it just, I don't know, just hung his balls out there. Like I thought that was just fucking insane that he basically said, yeah, this is the one I do. And not only am I going to execute it the same exact way, but I'm going to like amplify it by just Pirloing it like just 4 miles an hour into the net. It's going to barely hit like the back of the netting.
Everyone in the world knows Jorginho and his run up. Everybody knows it. So why, if you're a goalkeeper, would you ever lay out before that ball leaves his foot? Because he's going to hit it 5 miles an hour.
Or I was thinking
it's going to barely cross the goal line.
That one was even slower. But I was thinking about it. What I would do is I would just pick a side. So it's like if I'm the keeper, I'm basically shaded into, not all the way hugging the post, but like I'd be pretty clearly on one side. So then you're just like, all right, do your hop step, and I'm going to just sprint to the other side, knowing now maybe he just flat out then would kick it faster. But if that's what you're trying to do is get in his head, maybe that's just an option. Just sell out to one side and be like, all right, I know you're going to now kick it to the free side, and I'm going to run after it.
Give me your top players so far for both England and Italy. Who has impressed you the most?
Okay. So for Italy first, I mean, I think their whole front three, like Insigne, Immobile, and Chiesa, are all good, and they all play well together, and they all fit this 4-3-3 pressing system that Mancini likes to play. To me, like Chiesa is like cool as the other side of the pillow, though. He is just chill. When he bent that one in against Spain, in the semis, and even like his celebration, the way he's just like, yeah, I expected to do that. Just places going bonkers. That was quite the moment. So he's the Italian Kane at this point. I don't know. He's kind of like lanky. He doesn't seem like he should be as fast as he is. He doesn't come off as like this gifted, like athletic freak at all or a speed demon, but like he just like executes. So I don't know. I've been impressed with him. He's obviously a Juventus player and he's like 23 years old. So
yeah,
he'll be around for a while.
He comes off as an accountant. Like he looks like he's an accountant by day.
He doesn't look like he's some world-class athlete.
No, which is impressive as hell. But we've seen that throughout the years. It's in the first time, right? But he's impressive. I've liked Insigne a lot. Like I think he just flashes. He's quicker than lightning. And it's not that I think he's all that fast. It's his instincts and his lines that he takes and the way he darts to a different spot on the pitch. It's impressive. I mean, his movement without the ball is almost as impressive as his movement on the ball. He'd probably be my guy. He doesn't have the scoring output, but I think he's been just absolutely critical for them hitting on their style. Like you said, I think all three of those forwards deserve a shout. I was very critical of Immobile leading up to the tournament, and he's looked great in that threesome up there.
Going to the midfield, Jorginho did not have a good game against Spain. Really, the entire midfield did not, but it might have been because of how they're ordered to play. Barella's been my dude for the midfield for Italy all tournament. Again, no show, though, against Spain just because they had the ball, and it just feels like Spain let this one slip. It's just Busquets is like just a little bit too old, but then same with Koke, but then Petri is like maybe a little too young. I don't know. Like, it just feels like just something different should have unfolded for Spain. Even though, like, I was really down on Spain at the start of the tournament, they just seem to get better and better. But for Italy, at least, Barella, he's going to be a handful against England. He's a monster. it sucks. Their left back, he's out, with the torn Achilles. That's the worst. And then I think
Spinazzola.
Yeah. And then
how do you say Spinazzola with an Italian flair?
Spinazzola.
No, but wouldn't it be like Spinazzola?
Oh, it might be
Wouldn't you roll
Joel,
the
like
Z?
Casa Visual. Yeah. Might be. Not sure. But also,
it's a sweet name, though. Spinarella. Spinazzola.
I mean, that left side is by far their more devastating side. And I don't know. I mean, that Emerson's fine, but he's not the same. There's a reason he was backing up the spinster.
Don't you think that whoever England plays on that right side could be kind of the catalyst, though? In terms of who they're sending down the wing?
It's going to be an interesting matchup. And again, I think that's where, because Italy does like to dominate sometimes those flanks, specifically the left side, I wonder if that's where Southgate does start to think back three. But I don't know, Bucks. I mean, because I was just about to say, like, Chiellini's had a good tournament, but I think Bonucci is like the best distributor of the ball as a defender in the tournament. So, like,
Bonucci's look great.
If you want it, yeah, the young stallion Bonucci. What's he, like, mid-30s to Chiellini? But
what was the name of that good-looking lady from The Matrix? Is that Monica Bellucci? Monica Bellucci.
Like, she played Trinity?
No. She's in, like, Matrix 2. There's a very memorable scene. That's all I'll say about it.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I think it was Monica Bellucci. Is that his
I don't
mom?
know. Then do you want Italy to have possession if you're England?
Yeah, I think England, if you drop Kane back a little bit, pretty lethal on the counter, as we've seen with Spurs.
Yeah,
I think that might be the easiest way. God, I really think if Rashford would have been healthy and like really fully fit, the dynamic of Sterling and Rashford with Kane kind of dropping back deeper, that would have given so much of a goal scoring threat and dynamic speed threats down each side that I think it really would have changed kind of the offensive output for England.
As we talk through this, like I think I am going to talk myself into Italy going back three, because their midfield would.
You mean England or Italy?
I think England's going to go the back three. If I said Italy, my apologies.
Yeah.
Keep bouncing back and forth.
I'm here to keep you in line, Shakes. You are.
I know you are.
Mr. Controlled Chaos, as Jerry McNeil says.
I mean,
Controlled Chaos. Shakes had his baby with him while drinking a whiskey while doing a podcast. He's the absolute chief of Controlled Chaos.
Thank you. I appreciate that shout out, Jerry. That wife is home today too, so no baby will be interrupting this podcast. I say that while knocking on wood, because
I was going to say, you better, like,
when you run a family of four. And, yeah, these kids are under 3. Who do you think England's best players have been?
I think England's best players have been my top guy for the tournament so far has got to be Sterling, followed by Kane. You know, you could really flip a coin here for the finalists who's going to step up there.
How do you feel about the play of Phillips and Maguire?
Maguire's been good. I think Phillips has been really solid in the role he's been asked to deploy. But there's just there seems to be something just missing with forward progression from the midfield group for England. And I don't know if that's just more of a sustained effort to try to penetrate from the wings or penetrate with Kane dropping back, which has been working, mind you. But I would like to see, just because, like, England couldn't get a pass through the middle in the first half this entire game today against Denmark. They just could not do it. And that could have just been marauding Højbjerg, the Viking, doing well. You're playing 11 Vikings at that point. But it was tough for them to make it happen. I think he's played solid. What else can I say? I would say Rice defensively has been a standout, but then nothing in build-up or attack. It's like an immediate pass backwards.
Yeah. Or fill in the back line.
I don't really know how else they would pivot around not having that pair in there. I mean, Henderson just reminds me of Rice, probably a little bit more of a attacking-minded player, but still able to hold it down defensively. So nobody in the midfield has stood out, but they've been solid. I think. Can
I tell you who I think their best player is?
Who?
At least this tournament?
Who?
Right back, Kyle Walker.
Really
I think he's
interesting.
been
Tell me why.
I just think he's been fantastic. He's been asked to play different positions. He was the third center back on the back three on the right-hand side. I think every single driving run he makes, it's like he has endless energy, Bucks. He can make a driving run to tuck in either behind Saka or, if it's Grealish at that point, or if they switch it with Sterling because Grealish is in, he's operating more off the left side, or he got Sancho in like 2 games ago. He makes 0 defensive mistakes. And then also he has this level of calmness where I feel like I trust Maguire if I'm an English fan with distribution, but I still worry about his pace. Same with Stones. I just feel like, for a while he didn't start at Man City, and there's that in the back of guys' minds. Luke Shaw, he probably wouldn't even been on the team last year, but now he's been playing well. Kyle Walker's been on this team so long. He's got pace for days, plays every single minute of every single match, and he just makes 0 defensive mistakes. And the team basically has let out 1 goal, and it happened to be a set piece, so no one could really have their hand in that anyway, except for Luke Shaw, I guess, who created the foul. But I think Kyle Walker has just been unbelievable for them. Now they're kind of strong at right back, so it doesn't matter. They can bring in Tripp or whatever, but
Tripp's
I just
looked
think
good out there.
That's what I mean. I just think though Kyle Walker is someone that just has to be dressed at all times and starting.
Is this a public plea and also a desperate plea to get Kyle Walker back on?
No, because he'll be 31 or 32 soon, I think. Right, so I just feel like he never gets talked about, and I think he's been like their best player.
I liked how you mentioned
would be their second best. I mean, Sterling's up there too. I have to eat crow on Sterling. Just the thing that will always bother me with Sterling, and you see shades of this. Lucas Moura is Sterling light. Okay, so this is not a comparison on caliber, but you have those moments where Sterling will try to take a guy one-on-one, and it'll just lead to a counterattack going the other way, or just
they're
won't see that
chaos.
final pass. Yeah, it's
not controlled.
There are these Sterling moments, man, where just you just feel like, oh my God, that pass was right there. What were you thinking? Or why'd you try this shot? Or why did you lead this break? But he's just converted most of his chances. And
when you mentioned him,
credit.
You made a mention of his calm on the ball and his decision making. Once you had mentioned Kyle Walker, that was going to be my first point. Is that's not just being calm. He's extremely confident on the ball. Like when you see him on the wing, kind of in that 40-yard zone where he has to make a decision, he seems to be so confident in his next move and his positioning of his body to get in that right spot to make the pass and to not make a mistake with the pass. And that, I mean, as a Spurs supporter, Jesus, we've been plagued by terrible decision-making from those out passes, from those build-up passes. It's just so refreshing to see him. I wouldn't have thought of him just because of how quiet he's been, but what else can you say about a defender, right? When he's not the one making the mistakes, then of course you're not going to sit here and talk about him, be under a microscope.
For sure. Do you worry about Pickford on distribution in this championship match? He had a couple weird moments, specifically in the first half. I think he kind of buttoned it up, but he also got a little more conservative and just started bombing in the second half and looking for Kane or Sterling, someone holding the ball up. But there were some moments where I'm sure the whole stadium had a collective, heart and throat.
Yeah, but we've seen that from almost every goalkeeper in these semifinal games. And goalkeeper is always going to be a very isolated, you're just lonely back there. You're in your thoughts. You're on an island by yourself. Imagine that getting elevated to you feel like your teammates are miles away because of how big the spotlight is. And it's just lonely. And it's not something that I would ever want to be as a keeper. And then you factor in that Pickford does seem to be a very fiery fella. Like his
himself up too much.
He's a little
Hugo-esque.
Yeah. Hugo gets pissed. Pickford throws like little mini tantrums. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I trust him though.
To me, it boils down to this, and I'm now leaning back 3, but it'll just be so interesting to see when these 11s come out, Bucks, because if Italy's going to basically have that same lineup and that same engine, and that's the thing with Italy, it's like they're going to go Jorginho, Barella, and Verratti, but then behind them they still got like Pessina, Locatelli. It's like they're ready to just like reload in that midfield. If you don't think you're going to win the midfield battle with Rice Phillips and Mason Mount dropping back, then maybe tactically you just try something different than just losing that war in the midfield and bring in that. I don't know if it'd be Trippier and then slide Kyle Walker as another center back. I don't know if it would be bring in another midfielder or something along those lines. But I just wonder if you'll see a back three from England as a result.
I think there's a good possibility of that, but we have an interesting question here. If the Sterling pen was called against Spurs, how pissed would you be? This individual Alex thought it was a dive for sure. Yeah, I'd be furious.
I would have lost my mind if that was extra time and Spurs lost to Man City and in whatever, tournament type play.
Bang Energy final.
We'd be yeah. Let's say it just happened then. We'd be furious, Bucks. You got to sell the penalty. That's what he did. That's why I said at the top of the show. It's like, look,
did you
Denmark,
see contact?
I guess like when you slow it down, it's like I never understand like the firmness of the contact. It's like, yeah, his leg got brushed by that guy, but like, did you even feel it when you're running by at like 100 miles an hour? So it was one of those calls that if it wasn't called, VAR wasn't coming in and overturning that and calling it a pen. Everyone in the stadium knows that. So it's like, I don't know. That's why I said at the top of the show, though, I felt bad for Denmark. I knew the run had to end. England was the better team. If Denmark stole this on pens, it wouldn't have felt like a travesty, but it just felt like England probably deserved the win. It just didn't seem like Denmark deserved to lose that way.
Yeah, I didn't see enough with the replay, but I don't think they gave us the right angles on that. So clearly there was something there. Whether or not it would have, substantiated, I think that's the right word to use. It's been a long week today. I don't think it was substantial, but it got called, and it could have been a makeup call for Kane entering the box and that not getting called earlier.
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know. I mean, just hats off to the Denmark squad. I mean, Højbjerg, did he play every minute in Euros too? He maybe got subbed out in one of these matches, but
yeah, I mean, he started every match. He was the anchor. Him
and Kjaer, who had an unfortunate own goal, but that was just going to get put in by Sterling anyway. But Denmark just punched so far above their weight. But then you look at that team and you're like, oh man, they're back three. It's like they got Vestergaard and Christensen back there with Kjaer. And then you got Højbjerg up, above them, providing cover or going more forward. Suddenly it's like you're talking yourself into that team to pull an upset or two or go a little bit further. But to get to the semis, no one thought that, especially after losing their best player. So I don't know, man. It had to end eventually, but looking back at it, England's probably going to say, we kind of expected to be in the finals. We weren't on that other side of the bracket that had all the big dogs.
But they still had to go through Germany early.
Yeah, but that Germany team's in flux. They'll be fine.
It is in flux, but they're strong.
Not. I mean, did they even get out of World Cup group stage? They didn't, right?
I can't remember 3 years ago.
I don't think they did. I think remember Sonny 3 months scored on them. Remember? Yeah.
Okay.
That happened.
Awesome. Great job, Sonny.
Yeah.
Great job. All right. So the final. Give me your prediction.
Oh, I'm not doing that yet. Nope.
What do you mean not doing that yet? This will be our last show before the final.
I'm just going to tweet the prediction. I don't know, Bucks. I don't even know. Who's the betting favorite? I assume England because it's at home. But it'll be a pick 'em, but just with juice probably a little bit more in England's favor. I mean, this game's got extra time written all over it. The question is it 1-1 or is it like 2-2, 3-3 because of how the team's set up? I think it's going to be 0-0 or 1-1 going to extra time, and either someone nicks it or it goes to pens. Gun to my head, I'd probably give it to Italy.
Okay. My prediction is it's coming home. Tell the lads they're going to be out there at the pub fucking pissed. According to old Nan, I don't know if you watched that video I sent you a few weeks ago, but Nan was rooting on the ladies to lay off the dudes for going to the pubs for these matches because it's coming home. It's coming home. I got England 2-1, and I think you're right. I think it'll take a extra time goal to seal it. I think it's going to be 120 minutes, excruciating. Very happy that it's at 3:00 on Sunday. That's just perfect time for us to just, get some stuff done in the morning, maybe play some golf. I don't know what you're doing. Shake's probably jet setting, going somewhere.
You only want to hear what's going on, Bucks. We got
What are you
a
doing?
play date planned that I didn't know about from 2 weeks ago. So
Oh no.
No, it's all right.
You've done this before. You've done this before.
Hold on. I've got it figured out though. I basically said, hey, everyone's coming over to our house now. I'm grilling out, and I'll just have the game on at the pool. I will be DVRing it as well to really watch it in depth later. But I made sure to take away the previous destination of the play date to now just have it as a pool party at the Shake's house.
Watching a football match is great while you cook. I get a lot of satisfaction from doing that. Like when you have these noon games going for Euros, I'd be making lunch. It's very, very positive to watch a nice football match. It's actually easy to track.
Well, it's because the games are so nerve-wracking. You want to be like fidgeting with something. So it's like if I'm grilling a hot dog, which requires like zero skill whatsoever, then it's easy to kind of like just poke at it and like flip it nervously while, you're watching each country's lives like hang on the balance over the soccer game. That shouldn't mean as much as it absolutely does.
Wait, folks of your financial stature eat hot dogs as well?
I'm saying hot dogs to you, but it's definitely like a meat tube you've never heard of.
It's I thought I'd heard of all the meat tubes.
Nah.
It's a Kobe beef hot dog.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be easy to mess up.
No, it's got to be beef franks with the skin bucks. That's the key.
I can see me showing up for whenever this proverbial cookout that never gets placed on the calendar happens for me. And I show up and you've got these amazing spread of like these crazy meat tubes. You start grilling them and then you turn to me, you just go, oh, Buck, yeah, the Nathans are in the fridge. Those are for you.
Have you ever had boudin?
I don't know. No.
All right. Well, never mind. I don't want to keep.
Is that a meat? Is
that
a
different meat tube? Yeah, you never had it. Never mind.
No, I've never had a boudin. What do you think I am? French?
Yeah, I'd say it's more Cajun. But that's fine.
Like a Creole sausage?
It's okay. It's delicious though.
Oh, I thought I was the master of the meat tubes. It turns out I'm a phony.
Can I say though, Italian sausage better than Polish, like kielbasa?
It's
like if I'm going
better than kielbasa, but I like a bratwurst better.
I was just gonna say, and better than brat.
There's something to me about a brat with spicy mustard that just really seals the deal. I had one this weekend. It was fantastic, and I think it's responsible for my bowel movements over the last 3 days. But it's neither here nor there.
Our nanny gave too much prune juice to my son, and it's just been a mess the last 3 hours, Bucks. It's just been an absolute dumpster fire mess.
We get Tank Elliott, then full disclosure of the prune juice incident.
Yeah.
A little heavy pour there, huh, Nan?
Tank's a little mad at me today. She got her shots. Not good. Although she just stared at me. She didn't even cry. She's like, gave me a scowl. Like, all right, I know it was you. Just keeping tabs.
Shakes, you're on fire right now. Tank made such a glorious podcast debut last week. She was better at the job than you are.
She, for sure. I already have 3 people at my work reporting to her.
Tank's trio.
Yeah.
DL Tank's trio is one of your Outlook groups that you've got on there. Just Tank CC'd on every email.
Check it out, Buck. Another high Nuno.
I gotta admit, that's actually kind of a new idea here. Oh, nice. High Nunos. A good idea would be to establish a fake email group at your company that you run that is Tank's Trio, and you run it like what a dog mom or a dog dad would do on Instagram for their dog. But you are just Tank. You're basically using your daughter Tank as a method for you to manipulate movements as if it were not you. But in reality, it's always been you. And you just manage it like a dog Instagram account.
But do the employees know that it's me behind it?
No.
They just think they're actually getting orders from the baby?
I mean, you're going to have to figure all that out. This is very high beta right now. We're in beta mode. We're not rolling out the product yet, but I think it's a good idea that we need to speak about in the future.
I can release like employee stats over some sort of data metric, and she just slowly climbs to the top.
No, she berates the lower performers via email. Like, this is the third month in a row that I
It's
find
a
she
baby
was
though.
on-
Everyone's gonna know it's me. It's not like
Maybe she's advanced. Maybe she's on the Harvard accelerated plan. We don't know these things, Shakes, but
God,
we
I
got to
hope
get
not.
into listener questions. I got England winning. You've got Italy if you had a gun to your head, which makes zero sense to me.
Italy. Who plays more fluid ball right now?
England,
Who's had more impressive wins this tournament?
Italy.
Okay.
So
What
yeah.
manager would you trust to save you from a burning building?
Which what?
To which manager would you trust to save you from a burning building?
Why are all your scenarios surrounding the Euros involving our imminent death? Like, gun to head. You got to
Because
save me
I
from a
think
burning building.
I think you kind of know who the favorite is, but you're picking with your heart, which is fine. I'm rooting for Italy. Or,
Southgate
excuse me,
seems
England.
like he's
England.
by the book. Southgate seems like a man who goes by the book. If he sees me burning alive within a fire, he'll probably call the proper authorities and watch me burn. I could see Mancini coming in real hot, just trying to make sure that the press is on, and he'd probably press me a little bit, coming at me and then pull me out just to make sure I felt intimidated. So, yeah. Two different styles. It's a good point, Shakes. Let's get into our questions here. So we're going to introduce a little something here after this question. I'd love to hear you guys. This is from Brian Lozon. I'd love to hear you guys break down who you specifically think is realistically leaving, and taking a lump sum of funds we would be working with to add players, all said and done. So Danny Shakes has done the impossible. There was planning that occurred here, folks. All right, so Danny Shakes, against all odds, probably with a whiskey and a child in his lap, had to make sure that he was able to create the sheet of integrity. So the sheet of integrity lists players by transfer value, and then I have marked players that I kind of have targeted as moving out with my estimated evaluation. And basically, I'm bringing that to the board, Danny Shakes. Remember, I'm manager. I'm bringing this to the board based on my play style, keep lasting play style. And this is what we're going to review here. So let me share this. For our folks that listen via audio, tune into our YouTube channel, and you could search Talking Tottenham Pod, and you will find us there if you want to see the illustrious sheet of integrity.
It's just the sheet.
Here we go. Yeah, the sheet coys, but this is also based on my integrity, which I'm now bringing to you for evaluation.
Why is the screen split that way? Can't you make it one screen?
How's it split?
It looks like there's the Bucky and the Shake screens, and then the spreadsheet goes across it.
Oh.
Nope. That still kept the windows the same. You just zoomed in on it. It's fine.
It looks good like this.
It's fine.
As I was marketing our Talking Tottenham pod on YouTube, where we have technical difficulties, I need to strip the.
You know what we should do? Let's create it as a Google Doc, and then we can just like share it on TT Pod Coys. And people can just click on it and just mess with it. Just to fuck with us too. You can change all the market values and piss me off. Although I'll keep the master sheet.
Okay, so sheet of integrity here.
Well, the sheet of integrity is not anything crazy. I mean, really, Tank Elliott, my daughter, came up with it. But the whole idea is it needs to be a reference and resource for a market value of sorts when your contract expires, because that's a big deal. And then also the age of the player, along with a few other notes, like whether or not maybe they're a loan candidate versus a transfer out candidate. So that's just why we created this thing.
Yep. So we will share this on a Google Doc for y'all to download. It's actually really nice. You have little sorting ability on here. So I have this sorted by market value according to, what is the website, your preferred website there, Dan?
I just use Transfer Market.
Okay. Transfer Market. So you got Harry Kane, market value 95. We know that's a bit low. So I'm going to go through and mention our top 5 based on transfer market in terms of value. Sonny at 67.3, Sonny being 28 years old, Kane being 27, Tanguy Ndombele at 24 at 39.6, Davinson or Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, who's had a glow up.
We gotta change these because we wouldn't let him go for 27.
No. So, but I don't think he's a threat at all. I think that guy's going to be Spurs for a good while at 27.7, which after his performance in the Euros, I imagine is more likely around 40. Dave Sanchez,
pounds, by the way.
Pounds. Dave Sanchez at 25 at 25.3 mil. Again, I think that's a bit low in terms of valuation. And I'll end with Dele Alli here, 25 years old at 23.8 mil. So I went through, and this is just from my perspective here. Oh, sacred director of football, Shakezinho, as the kids call him. I got Harry Kane, and my asking price is 135. I think if 135 gets hit, then I think we'll see him moving on to either Manchester side. Where do you feel about that? DOFU.
I think if Spurs were offered 135 million pounds, they would say yes to that. I really do. I don't know if it'll ever get to that, Bucks. I think it'll just always be a number plus a player from Man City.
Okay.
But yeah, if it's 135, he's gone.
What if it's Sterling in, Kane out? What is the value then?
If it's like Sterling or Laporte. Jesus really, or Laporte, or maybe even Ferran Torres, I don't know. It would be like probably 90 or 100 plus the player. Like Spurs would want more in the total value because the player then comes with this contract that they have to pay. And then also it would be harder to move the player versus just actual cash. So if it's 135 million pounds in cash, that's different than maybe the market value plus, the cash part, which equals more than the 135 million is what I'm saying.
Okay. So you side with me on this one, Shakes.
I do. I think that's just a ridiculous number. And Kane is worth it. I would love to see Harry Kane still on Spurs, but he's 27 years old. He probably will not sign any contract extension for sure this year. I'll report that right now. And then next year, you have Kane at 2 years to go in this contract. So you just got to think, like, unless you're winning this year, which seems far-fetched given the lineup and given the results the last 2 years, and with a new manager coming in and having like 4 weeks to prepare, it's just you got to realize, like, you're basically now then 1 more year away from Harry Kane leaving on it free. So, I don't know if he'd do that to Spurs again, but like, I don't want to see where we go if I know I can get 135 million. And
right,
that's as pragmatic as I can be.
All right. We see eye to eye. This is a great relationship. Worked together for years. So I'm not surprised. You've put me into lockers before.
I eat the drumsticks. You eat the flaps. We all work together.
I do eat the flap. Yep. I am a flap guy. Hunman's son, I think he's staying put. Let's get that new contract signed. All signs point to yes, as long as we get the pocketbook out. Tanguy Ndombele, you have as a medium transfer temp? Well, yeah. Transfer temp.
Transfer what?
Temp for temperature. I just read that for the first time.
Yep. Temperature. Low, medium, high.
Yeah, I would say he's medium. He's vocalized some frustrations.
I also wrote in the notes, if it's the right team and the right price, then it's an absolute possibility he goes. And with Tanguy Ndombele, there's probably still a lot more unknown. There's definitely a few arrogant managers out there that can say, I can unlock this guy and put him in my system. He'll flourish. So therefore, I think given his age, given his talent, absolutely someone might just swoop in and just say, look, we want him part of PSG, or we want him part of, name a bigger club most likely. Because the problem there is, unless they came in with some meaningful dollars, I just don't see Levy cutting bait on it. Even if Paratici and Nuno and Hitchen, however cooks you want to get in that kitchen, even approached him and said, look, we're getting offered 50. It's like, nope, bad deal. Like, I paid 60 for him. I don't want to do it. That would be Levy saying no. So it'd have to be like pretty much the right possibility, but I'm not ruling it out.
So you think it would have to be over 60 to talk business
I-
there? And I don't see that in the current market.
I don't either, unless it was some sort of fancy, let's do a loan for a big dollar amount. Then we have an execution to buy, and then you total those two numbers, and that gets you over 60. You can get creative with your shit, but that would maybe be something.
Sounds like you have some experience there. Tanguy Ndombele, only 24. I would be delighted to see him progress another year in the Prem, see what he's got this year. With a new manager, probably a different mentality, hopefully a different type of relationship with the player from Nuno. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, 25 years old. He's not going anywhere.
Nope. He needs to rest the next month.
Yep.
Like I don't want to get off the couch.
I don't even want to see him jumping into pools. Like go in very leisurely.
Yeah.
Very nonchalantly.
Step by step. Ice baths and jacuzzis only. So
we got Dave Sanchez here. May be overvalued by a team to transfer out. My number there was 28. We're never going to recoup the full sum, and this puts us almost back to even in terms of the output and everything else. So I have it at 28. What's your evaluation there?
And I think he goes. Just so I understand this, we're all talking pounds here. 28
million
pounds.
You presented these figures in pounds, so yes, this is pounds.
Making sure you've switched things up on me before.
Listen, I'm like a cat. I keep you guessing. I might scratch it one day and then purr the next.
And scarecrow it a different way. I get it. I would say I would let him walk for 28 million. I would say even 25 million. With Dave, where it's a little different than Tanguy and Ndombele, even though they're closer in age. And Ndombele, you could still argue he's only been here for 2 years now. Really, injuries plus 2 managers, still like unknown is Ndombele. And really, if you unlock the talent, you could do something. Whereas Sanchez, he's been on the squad for quite some time. So you could justify that the money that you've kind of lost, really, you still got 4 serviceable years out of him, including 2 really good years. Yeah. So that's why I think it's just easy. And then also you have this whole revamp that needs to happen at center back. So that just might be looked at more like a money in, money out scenario for center back, and just makes him far more, I guess, palatable to leave if you're Levy. Like, you're just like, all right, fine, I understand. I'll just bite the bullet on this one and take a loss because I know I'm dumping more money and reinvesting it into the same position.
So the reason I have Sanchez noted here, and I've been a proponent. I've been a supporter of Sanchez. I still think there's room to grow. He's still a very, very young center back in the real shakeup of things. He's very young, and he's got a lot of Prem experience at this point. So I do think there's more in the tank there. My concern is simply, and I know Paratici, there's rumor that he had said, he's going to be sprinkling out offers all over the place for positions of need, and then only taking the ones that work both for the player and the price. So, but my concern is, with that in mind, we've seen Twitter littered with center backs being mentioned as Spurs being interested in it. I'm talking like 4 to 5 that it seems pretty serious. So I would say center back is a position where we need to take an underperforming asset and capitalize that money to try and get somebody maybe a little bit younger. Jules Koundé, he's younger. Who else we got back there? You got Tomiyasu. There's some names out there that I don't necessarily think are a huge step up, but probably a cheaper price tag, probably cheaper weekly dues, whatever. Not dues.
That's where the center back market just feels weird, because it's like, would you rather have Joe Rodon at whatever Spurs paid, 12, 15 million, or would you rather have Skriniar at like 47 million? Like, does it seem like it's that much more money to take on that guy versus just keeping Rodon and hoping he develops? It's almost like unless this is the guy and you're paying top dollar, like it's just we're taking Diaz or VVD or whatever, and it's like you're spending like 70, 80 million pounds or whatever the hell the number was for both those guys. Then I don't know. Like I'm sure there's like this, I don't want to call it arrogance, but there's this trust, or at least you hope that your scouting department, in that 15 to 35, 40 million range just knows what they're talking about when they're talking about the valuation of these guys.
See, but I think we already have assets that are valued, in terms of going out now or being brought in at that range that just never got a shake for whatever reason. So it's almost the part that's frustrating is, are you sure that it's the recruitment that's the problem, or is it applying those positive recruits or those cheaper end players coming in at that 12 to 18 million range that we're just not really just given a full bone to bite off on?
Well, that's the Levy argument for why he probably doesn't want to transfer out half these players. It's like, well, we can't get rid of Ndombele yet because we haven't seen what he does, which I agree with on that front. But for me, I think Dave is done. I think we kind of see that, and we want to see him move on, and I think it'll help him too personally. But that's probably the argument being made is like when Conte, when he was being interviewed with Spurs, or just whoever else, even if it's Paratici talking with Levy on like, hey, I need 50 million or whatever it is for a center back. And then Levy replies back like, well, we got Joe Rodon. Like, I got him for 15 million. It's like, maybe we should see what we got there. And it's like, well, we never really did. We never saw what Mourinho did there. And now he's not rated the same way as some of the other transfers, like you just mentioned. And that's where I guess it really comes down to Paratici having to put his neck on the line for some of these players to be brought in. He's just got to say,
I just hope Tanganga and Rodon both get looks, especially if we're going to rely on a 3 at the back.
I got absolute news for you. Like Tanganga is getting loaned out. If Spurs bring in 2 center backs, you almost want to get loaned out.
You've told me a million times he's a right back. That's you, your voice, your words,
okay.
Sir.
2 center backs come in and a right back, and Doherty's not leaving probably.
I don't want Tanganga out on loan.
I know you don't.
I want to get his card. I hope in the next box that I bought that I get his card.
Your next Panini Prism?
Yeah, Panini Prism, pink ice.
How awesome is it opening a pack a day?
It's one of the greatest joys I have in life. So I thank you for getting me started on the hobby. I can't stop. You know what I like? Because I'm used to when I was a kid getting, just like the shitty Fleer Topps boxes. The packs were like 15 cards each. So you'd go through and it was all junk. With this one, I open it very strategically from the back, but I don't look at the last card, so I have no clue what it is. And I take like 30 seconds on each card before I look at the next one. And it's just, man, as you go through and you're like, oh man, what's the rare card going to be? What's the ultra rare going to be? What's the special card going to look like? Is it going to be pink, purple, green? I don't fucking know, but I'm very excited about it. It feels like being a kid again, but the discipline to not rip open every pack. I just got through my last pack. I got through my last pack today, and I won't have my new box until next week, and I don't know what I'm going to do for the next 4 days.
It's like going cold turkey.
Yeah.
I have 2 boxes stashed up, Bucks. I don't know when the next year ones come in. We can get those 21,
it looks like
22s.
These are current year. It looks like
they
these
are
current year.
So that's I don't know when the next year drops technically.
I would probably say like
February,
Feb or March. They got to get those good shots in.
Those action shots. My Højbjerg that I got, love it.
I got a Højbjerg. Very excited about it.
Keep it under my pillow.
Things covered in drool now, Shakes.
It's in a plastic case, Bucks. Come on.
Amongst other things. All right, so back to the sheet of integrity here.
The sheet's gonna go a while, Bucks. Are we gonna talk through every single player?
Just the ones I think are on the way out. So we're not gonna mention.
Got you. So just
anybody
everyone
else
knows.
So you think Dave around 28 to 30 would get the job done?
I do. I think Spurs sell there.
All right, Serge headed out PSG France. Oh, by the way, another question. We'll just combine these since this is going to take a minute. Was where would you foresee the players going if you have them on your out list? I got Kane, Man City, or Man U, as I mentioned. Sanchez, I think, would fit in better in Spain or Italy.
Agreed. He came from Italy. Although it's funny, it's like when he came from Italy, it was kind of a different game over there. Now it's more high pressing, but I think that kind of fits him still.
Wait, Sanchez? He came from Italy?
Didn't
I thought he came from
He came from Ajax, not Roma.
Yeah.
My fault.
Yeah. You're good. I mean, we have a few from Roma, so
Yep.
well, good. All right, Dave, I like it. Surge at 16. I have the price point there for PSG. Do you think that's a little high?
Seems high to me, but if it's like, don't you want to win every deal? I get it, but at some point, is it just like, all right, if you read like 2 million separated Surge from leaving and just the deal getting inked, wouldn't you be kind of pissed off about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, Levy, if you're listening, just know that everyone thinks that way.
Just get the job done. I think he's a guy that wants to go back to France. And you know what? I'll give him credit. It seemed like he was well liked in the locker room. I know he had exciting moments, some disappointing moments, but I think it is time to move on there. I would gladly take 16. I would also gladly take 13. Harry Winks, I've got going out at 18 mil, which might be low, but I also feel like there's kind of a log jam there with Skip coming back, and I want to see Skip get a real opportunity as a youngster here to make an impact. Harry Winks, I know it doesn't seem like it, but he's 25 years old now, and there's been a lot of rumors surrounding him. I've got 18 as the price point there. What are you thinking?
18, unfortunately, sounds right. Now, that definitely feels like the deal where more likely than not, like a year later, you're like, man, Spurs sold Harry Winks for 18 mil, huh? Now he's starting at Leeds or Aston Villa, where he's getting looks and you're just pissed off about it. So I wonder, though, even though 18 feels right to you and me, Bucks, this is one of those ones in that category of similar to what we read with Moussa Sissoko when he was getting looks from whatever Italian club, and Spurs had him higher rated and said this is his transfer value, and it was like out in outer space. Levy probably would be fine with letting Winks leave, but at some ridiculous number that no one will pay. So even though you and I might think 18 works, maybe it's more like 35 is being demanded or something.
Wow, if that is the number, then we are.
I don't know, but I just picked that number out of the air. But I'm just saying, doesn't that feel like what Levy would do?
But I also feel like if you threw 25 out there, unless it was Man U or Man City, which I don't believe it will be, then nobody's paying that asking price.
Right?
In my opinion.
Absolutely not. So that's why.
But do you agree that I don't know? While it seems like we have some depth there, it just depends on the player that Lo Celso or Ndombele turn into. Whether they can play back there, I'm not sure they can. So at that point, it would be Winks as the 2 and Skip as the 3.
I think Skip's just ahead of Winks now.
Wow, really?
I just think if they're creating a depth chart and Skip is more the defensive midfielder, where Ndombele and Lo Celso can go more forward. Højbjerg actually in this tournament at Euro 2020, he showed he can go forward too. He also did the last couple matches for Spurs. I just think I would put Skip ahead of Winks and Sissoko as far as like if I'm the manager and I'm rating it on the depth chart. Because at that point, we're talking about all the backups anyway. Rather have the cheaper option and then have more money to spend and use it elsewhere.
Okay.
But I just worry Levy rates him so much higher, and it's just like Winks is still in the squad and he just doesn't play. That's nightmare scenario.
That's always a concern.
Just collects checks and just maybe we'll get an FA Cup match in or something.
I got Eric Lamela on his way out, 15 mil to a club like Benfica.
Ooh. I can see him going to Italy though, back to Italy.
I agree.
Unlike Dave, he is from Italy.
That is Italy.
Actually, was he at Roma?
He was at Roma,
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Maybe I just had him. I don't know what
You've got it all up there in that noggin of yours.
Somewhere up there, buddy. Anyway, I think that's too high for Lamela. I think he's more like 10 to 12 range.
Okay.
And that's because I'm looking at the sheet, Bucks, and Lamela is 29 years old going on 30.
Yeah.
So you got to take that into account.
Yeah, I think he's on his way out considering he's out of contract now as of the end of the year.
That's the other part.
End of 2022. So I think with him, Surge, obviously, those are two that stand out. The next one I have here is Toby, who has vocalized already. He wants a return to Ajax, it seems like.
I think Royal Antwerp had interest.
Oh, really? Okay. Dang,
Yeah.
if it's Royal Antwerp, I don't think we're going to get this price. I put down 9 mil, but that's probably high. But that seems so low for the player you're getting at a lower level league.
He's 32 now. He's 2 years away. So this would be the year you'd want to transfer him out. Then player gets all the leverage in the final year. So they're really, I shouldn't even say the player, really. The team trying to buy from you has all the leverage.
Yeah.
So I kind of also think it'd be sub 10. I think yeah, maybe you hope it is Ajax or someone with a deeper pocket, and then you can ask for 10. But I think what also needs to be reviewed by all the supporters and the team is like, let's not, if he wants to move on and you're bringing in other center backs and you got your money's worth with Toby Alderweireld, let's be real. So again, that's where it turns into like, let's not be dicks about 9 million versus 11 million or something, whatever this turns into. If he wants to leave and you have other blood coming in, new blood coming in.
Yep. And it's time, and I'll be sad as hell to watch Toby go.
Me too. He's my boy.
The general for us. He's been great. And then I got the hog that was promised, Musa Sissoko, going out for 8 mil.
So we were already, unless the reports were false, so who knows, in Twitterverse, wasn't it Spurs rated Sissoko at 10 or was it 12 million? It was some number that was much higher than it needed to be. So then whoever was kicking the tires on it, and I can't remember if it was Roma or some other Italian squad, it was definitely an Italian team. They just said, all right, fuck it, and just, threw their hands up, and apparently those talks have since stalled. Granted, they could always get rekindled, or maybe it's all posturing, but if Spurs are going to, again, overrate Sissoko, who's 31, and again, similar to Toby, he's 2 years away from the contract being over. So a year from now, that's when the team buying has all the leverage. Again, you're going to have Sissoko in there. He can come in for some spot time, but if you're looking at Ndombele, Højbjerg, Lo Celso, Skip, maybe another midfielder coming in, I mean, just you got to understand you're not cashing in on someone who's probably going to more often than not be on the bench.
Yeah, it'll be a sad day. It'll be a hellish day for me. I mean, how do I live without Hog? I want to know. And, we're going to get a stunning remix if we can get the audio rights. That'll be a sad day, but it's time. It's time. So that's my collection there. I wanted to note Nathan Keller here, sell Dyer to Mourinho at Roma for a king's ransom. If we can get a king's ransom for Dyer, I'm all for it. I still think there's something there, and I like his leadership qualities. I think there is a player there. It's just a matter of getting more incorporated into that style. Problem is he's already 27, and the clock, it certainly says that it usually ends by 31, 32 for most center backs. That's most. So I'm just not sure if he's ever going to grow to his full heights, but I currently want to shake it out for another year with Dyer.
So I'm going to give you 3 names. You tell me who you think could be the guy a year from now, or maybe even more, like 6 months from now, where you're like, shit, Spurs transferred him out maybe too soon, and now he looks pretty good after this new fresh start. Here are the 3 names: Dyer, Sanchez, Winks.
Like, who out of those 3 goes?
Like, who out of those 3 would you seem as more likely that you regret that you transferred him out? Like, just suddenly you're like, oh, wow.
Sanchez.
Apparently changed the seat. That's who I think it is, too.
But I also think the valuation on Sanchez.
The valuation's higher, and that's why, got to pay to play for that lottery ticket that is Dave Sanchez, who has all the measurables and, did it awesome for 2 years. And then just, unfortunately, it all kind of came unraveled. But I worry about that, all 3 of those guys. Like, just suddenly Dyer is, holding his own at some
It came from the head first swan dive, and it was a downward spiral since then.
I think Winks change of scenery. That one would bum everyone out the most, just because
he was flopping around like a fish out of water. It wasn't a good scene. Yeah. All right. Well, that leaves us at 230 mil. So we've talked about outward movements here today. We've talked about the Euros. We've talked about Manscaped. Use code KOIS20 at manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping. That's 230 mil for our listener question from Brian Lozen. 230 after all is said and done.
Half from Harry Kane.
Is movement. Yeah, more than half from Harry Kane, obviously, like 60%. But we will get into potential targets and who we'd like to see come in. We had a few questions around that. We'll be going over that probably after the Euros match. Sunday, hopefully, Shakes, we can get something cranked out for the people. Feeling real good. You know, you will have cooked your Kobe beef meat sockets.
Tubes.
Meat tubes, tube sockets, whatever the hell they are.
While checking Deli's Instagram.
And then also sending emails from Tank Elliott's new email address. So it'll be a riveting Sunday. Thank you all for tuning in. And we'll get into transfers in and some targets that we really like and answer the remaining questions from that front on Sunday or Monday, folks. Thank you all so much. Danny Shakes, sign the people off.
Let's go. Let's have an awesome Euros. I want to see a good match, and let's build the squad. Let's get Nuno's vision in there. And come on, you Spurs.
That was a pretty bold one, Shakes. It's been a while since I've heard your balls drop live on air.
Thanks, buddy.
That's pretty good. Kois, get it done. We'll see you all soon.